Hey guys, today we'll be learning about different parts of an airplane. So what you see on screen is a Cessna 172. That is the plane that most of us get trained on. And let's learn about its parts from the outside and the inside so as to know more about airplanes. Let's look at it from the outside. So here we can see the view from the side. So basically this is a small airplane, or we can also say it as a general aviation airplane. So what we see is from the front, this rotating thing is basically where you see the cursor is the propeller of the aircraft. So if I increase or decrease the prop engine power, so this gets faster and it gets slower. So where the cursor is, this is the prop of the aircraft that is basically connected to the engine, and this helps the aircraft to get its thrust. So the part of the aircraft behind the propeller is the engine, and it is covered by an engine cowling. So this part is basically the engine cowling. So this entire structure of the aircraft is called the fuselage of the aircraft. So this part from here to here, it's the fuselage of the aircraft, and the part behind the aircraft, this part near its tail, is called as the empennage of the aircraft. So these you can see are the wing of the aircraft. So it is a high mounted wing, and the landing gears of the aircraft are basically its wheels and the tires along with the landing struts. So this kind of an aircraft is called a tricycle gear, which has a nose wheel below its nose and engine, and then there are two wheels which are also called as main wheels on the back of the aircraft. Then the pilot sits inside the aircraft, and that is basically known as the cockpit of the aircraft. These are the struts which are supporting the wings of the aircraft, and these are basically the struts which are supporting the landing gear of the aircraft. So coming to its back part, this is basically the tail or the empennage of the aircraft. It has a vertical stabilizer. This part is known as the vertical stabilizer, and this part is called the horizontal stabilizer. Behind the vertical stabilizer or the tail fin is the rudder, which I will move. So as you can see, this part is the rudder of the aircraft, and behind the horizontal stabilizer of the aircraft is basically the elevator of the aircraft. So I will move the elevator now. So this is up deflection, this is down deflection, that is the elevator, and this is the rudder. So basically you control the rudder with your feet, right rudder and left rudder, and the elevator using the yoke or the stick of the aircraft. On the wing of the aircraft, so this is the wing of the aircraft, and on its outer part are the ailerons over here, and I will move the ailerons so you can see the ailerons. So I will be moving the ailerons. See, now you can see the ailerons moving. So as one aileron moves up, see on the left side, the other aileron automatically moves down, and once the right aileron goes up, the left aileron automatically goes down. So other than that, towards the center part of the wing, you can see that there is a structure which is known as the flap. So I will move the flaps now, and you can see the flaps, they have different degrees of deflection. So these are the surfaces which increase the camber or the area of the wing and the curvature. So if we look at it from the side, now we can see the wing is more curved. So these help the aircraft to fly at lower speeds. And during takeoff and landings, as we have to take off on lower speeds and land at lower speeds, so we use the flaps. So I'll retract the flaps. So now I will describe the function of various parts. As we have seen, the aircraft has to move forward, so that power is provided by the engine inside the cowling. This is basically a piston engine aircraft, so there is a piston engine inside it and it is driving a propeller. So basically this translates into the thrust of the aircraft, which gives it a velocity. Then you know the wings help the aircraft to maintain lift. So the lift using Bernoulli's principle and Newton's third law of motion is created by the wings. And now I will talk about something called as primary flight controls. The primary flight controls are basically the ailerons, which I will move now. These which we have seen on the wings. This is one of the primary flight controls. The second is the elevator, which I will move now. This is also a primary flight control. And third is the rudder, which I will move on the tail of the aircraft. This is all these three are the primary flight controls of the aircraft. Then the secondary flight controls in this example would be the flaps, which I am moving now. So these are the secondary flight controls of the aircraft. So what basically the primary flight controls do? They are very essential for the movement of the aircraft and the flight of and controlling the flight of the aircraft in the air. So basically, coming to the ailerons which are on the wings, they help the aircraft to go left and right, basically bank on the different axes of the aircraft. So I'm gonna tell you about different axes which pass through the aircraft, imaginary lines. Basically, the aircraft has three axes. So ailerons help it bank the movement of the ailerons. Suppose we have to turn the aircraft to the right, we will do it like this. So right aileron will come up and the left aileron will go down. So in this way, the right wing has reduced its lift, as we can see from the right side. So this part of the aileron on the right is adding to the drag on that side. So the air will hit it and bounce up, and because of it, the airplane will be pushed down on the right side. So airplane will bank or turn towards the right. The opposite direction aileron is gone down, so it will add to the curvature of the wing on the left side, and it will create more lift on this side. So it will also help in turning the airplane or banking the airplane towards the right. Similarly, if you have to do a left turn, the left aileron goes up and the right aileron goes down, and same applies. The right side has more lift than the left side, which has more drag, which resists airflow. So the left wing goes down and the right wing goes up. So that is how the airplane turns. So now I'll talk about the rudder. So rudder is attached to the tail of the airplane, and it is also responsible for maintaining the control of the airplane along the vertical axis, basically in takeoffs and landings, and making a coordinated turn, as we call. So if suppose we turn the aircraft towards the right, when the right aileron is up and the left aileron is down. So when there is the right aileron going up and the left aileron is coming down, so a bit of right rudder is also required to keep the aircraft towards a coordinated turn. So if we have to turn the aircraft to the left aileron goes up, right aileron goes down. So we have to give a little bit of left rudder to keep the turn coordinated, so as to balance the centripetal and centrifugal forces. So other purpose of rudder is to maintain the aircraft on the runway center line. Suppose the center line of the runway is going to the left, so you will give slight left rudder and then slight right rudder, so as to come back to the center. Always remember, the control inputs are to be given slowly and not very vigorously unless it is an emergency situation. So basically, rudder controls the airplane left and right when it goes or takes off, and on the landing also it controls the airplane's direction of movement. And the vertical stabilizer, which is attached on the front of the rudder, it gives an airplane stability. As you have seen the bows and the arrows, they also have some surfaces attached to the back side of them. Similar is the airplane, so this vertical stabilizer also gives stability to the airplane as the horizontal stabilizer. So now the function of the elevator I'll discuss. Elevator is this structure which is attached on the back of the airplane. I'm moving it so as you can see. The elevator basically helps in the pitch of the airplane. So airplane can go up and down. So whenever you have to go, the airplane has to climb, the elevator is moved up. When the elevator is moved up, what you see is there's the air which is coming from here, and it will push the tail plane or the empennage of the airplane towards down. when the elevator is up. So this will become more heavier as it has lost lift from here. So when the air comes from here, it hits over here, the surface of elevator, it bounces up, it gives a downward force here, and the nose raises up. So if the airplane has to go down, you give low elevator, elevator goes down, and it creates more lift, so more upward force is there towards the tail, and so the nose goes down. So this is basic function of the parts of the airplane from outside. Hope you liked it. Now let's go inside and see some of the basic controls of the airplane. So from inside, this is the yoke of the airplane, the handle that you can see. I will just move it left and right. This is basically moving the ailerons left and right. So in this aircraft, this is the yoke. Other aircraft, there is a side stick or a center stick as well. So as to move the elevator, you have to pull it and push it. When you pull it, the elevator will go up so as to do a takeoff. When you push it, it goes down so as to reduce the pitch of the aircraft. So this controls the ailerons and the elevator, the yoke. Now if we have to see the rudders, we have to zoom towards the rudder pedals in the foot side. So now I will move the rudders. You can see left and right rudder movement. These are the rudders by which you can. These are the rudder pedals by which you control the movement of the rudder through your feet. And these also have brakes on top of them, so you can apply brakes. But I can't show you on this simulation. Then this is the thrust lever over here. If we move it forward, it adds to the engine power, and if you move it backwards, you can reduce the engine power on this aircraft. Different aircraft have different types of thrust levers. This is the fuel control or the mixture knob. This controls the fuel that is given to the engine. So if it is in the fully rich position, you will add more fuel. As you climb up, you reduce the amount of fuel toward the engine. Then this is the trim wheel, which is basically used to trim your horizontal stabilizer or the elevator of the aircraft. So then other than that, this aircraft C-172, Cessna 172 has a glass cockpit. It has basically a Garmin 1000. So this is the primary flight display, PFD, and this is a navigation display. Primary flight display displays basic instruments on the airplane like the airspeed, the altimeter, and basically the horizontal situation indicator and attitude indicator. So all this is clustered into one screen, and basically you can also see a type of compass over here. It is not a compass. Compass is present over here. So it is kind of a gyro which gives the direction. It is calibrated with the compass as well. On the right screen, you can see the navigation display of this aircraft. On G1000, it will give you all the engine parameters, and it will basically also give you the map, moving map of the aircraft, which I'll explain later. So those are the basic parts. Then there are the switches which you will learn when you fly the aircraft. These over the bottom are the standby instruments. So if your screens go faulty, you can also refer to the airspeed, the attitude, and the altimeter over here. So rest of all in the next video. Thanks for watching.